Welcome to a very fun and exciting episode of the Sports Coach. I'm your host, Craig Bergner. I appreciate you spending some time with us today. We're going to be talking Bass Event number 1 in the head-to-head league. It took place yesterday, and we are going to review all the action that took place. We are going to have interviews. We're going to see highlights. And then, of course, we have to go through our picks and see who hit home runs and see who struck out. I can't wait, and I got two wonderful gentlemen in studio with me. Bring on Kyle Carpenter. Bring on the man, Tyler Corey. What's happening today, gentlemen?
Yo, yo, yo. We're back trying to break this couch. Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hey, the couch is doing its very best to hold on for dear life over there.
Like a flatbed semi-truck, buddy.
Tyler back from his wedding festivities.
That's right.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Repping some new hardware on the hand.
Hardware to prove it.
Yeah, that's buddy. Right. I hope you had a great wedding.
Yeah, it turned out great. Everyone had a good time, including us.
Hey.
Lake was beautiful. We couldn't ask for a better day. We knew April wedding in Wisconsin was a risky play, but it paid off.
Yeah, nice.
That
Very
nice.
Good. No, good luck to a lifetime of happiness, man. There you go.
Appreciate it.
Kyle, how you doing today?
I'm good.
Yeah, good.
I'm good. We got one of each in the books. That's good. We're 16 events away from being done with the year.
No one's counting.
Darn near over, eh? It was a fantastic way to kick off the bass side of things yesterday. Weather was great. A little cold in the morning, but
yeah, that's all right.
All those guys, they toughed it out and they hammered. It was a good event. Way to start. And Mother Nature, she reared her ugly head today.
Missed us by a day.
Missed us, I know. Thank goodness.
Maybe that will be the theme this year. Rather than getting us, she'll miss us by a day.
I'm fine with that.
Me too.
I am fine with that. Yeah, so it was a ton of fun at Little Lake Butamore. Some good fish being caught, some great matchups to watch, and guys, overall, just a quick take on how you thought the event went.
I thought it was going to be better than what it was. It was great. The fishing was great. All the anglers did a phenomenal job. A lot of younger guys that had never been on camera before did a great job.
Yes.
I sent an email out to the anglers today just saying, hey, great job yesterday. Not only to the winners, right? Everybody always wants to congratulate the winners, but everybody did awesome. I don't think we had one penalty yesterday that I heard of. No swearing penalties, which is awesome.
The Lee's got a penalty for something.
Lee's got over the gun. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there was no swearing penalties, so that's good. It was... From my side of things, everything went smooth. Camera guys did an awesome job. It's demanding standing there for that long and not being able to fish mainly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, especially when they're whacking.
Right? Yeah. I did expect there to be a lot more fish catches, but the cold morning really hurt the largemouth shallow bite, the bank bite. So,
which is weird because we had some pretty big weights in quarter number 1, Kyle. So
we were out there on Sunday for our club tournament, and then. The guy that did
jumping in the boat, right?
The guy that did the worst had the biggest bag of the day from yesterday. I mean, but that's a whole different day.
Yeah.
Is what it is. It was still a great day.
Tyler, fantastic job as always.
Thank you.
On camera. What'd you think? How'd the event go?
In the studio, I thought it was great. The anglers kept me and Andy busy, and we had plenty of fish catches to talk about. It was just like Walleye League 1, where it felt like it was fish after fish after fish. Towards the tail end, we had a little dead time, but we enjoy that too, to get to kind of break down what the anglers are doing, give a little tips and tactics type deal, and actually talk about the event instead of just fish catches. But I thought it was a great event overall. Like Kyle said, I kind of expected more guys. And if you look at the first 2 hours, we were on pace to break records. There was multiple teams that had a shot at 100 pounds, but that bite just died after. And you see that a lot of times in the springtime where those fish hit that peak morning feed, and then sometimes it tapers off. And who knows? I got a feeling that if we would have had it PM matches yesterday, we would have seen some big weights come out on there, but we don't know. And everyone's on the same playing field at the AM matches, so I really enjoy that part of it.
Yeah, it was interesting. A lot of boats in small area. Yeah. You got to see boats like right on top of each other out there. I know nothing about this stuff, but I'm getting there. When we saw them hammering in the first hour, and then we saw a couple boats move. Why did they not circle back to those initial
They probably
spots?
did.
They did?
They probably did. Like I talked with Chris Frederick, and him and Ron started on a spot. And I asked him at the end of the day, I said, did you end up going back there or not? Because he said prior to lines in, he sent me a Snapchat with his live scope was just lit up.
Okay.
They were just roaming around in the grass. And I asked him if he went back. He said he went back to it twice.
Okay.
So, they did. Most of the guys would go back to where they started.
Yeah, because usually you ruffle them up in that first hour, and then you let them calm down for an hour or two, and you head back, and you guys hit them hard usually, and it works most of the time.
Right.
In the 4-hour format, it's tough, though.
Yeah.
If you have 5 or 6 spots you want to run through, 4 hours is over like that.
Right.
Like the day flies by.
Yeah. Well, it was a fantastic event, and I think the best part of the event was that I went 5-0 yesterday.
Yeah, you did undefeated on the
Yes,
pick.
sir.
Nice.
That's how you started out, Tyler.
Nice. I was not.
2-3, man.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah,
I took some risks on that one. I was betting on the shallow largemouth bite with Frederick and Trudowski, and that never transpired. Learned my lesson in the first one. Never bet against the Lees. I think they're going to be a strong contender the entire season. And then, some upsets. I mean, Tony and Jeff, you feel bad for them. They picked up right where they left off and got the worst beat of the day.
We'll be talking about them again. Yeah, I know. That's what we were thinking about.
And they both feel that way.
Yes.
Yeah. And then the Teshes came to play, man. They
did.
In their head-to-head debut, they didn't let the shining lights get to them, and they started it early and stayed on them the whole day.
Again, we're going to talk about all these matchups, but Ben is a star.
Yeah.
By the way, he is an absolute superstar.
Yeah.
On the water. Wow. Is all I can say about his
dad was a little under the weather yesterday. He wasn't feeling great. That's why he was so quiet in the boat all day. He actually sent me an email with a recap of their day, so I'll get that over to you guys. Maybe use some of that for socials too. But he said he was got the funk like every one of us has gone through this year, and still toughed it out and caught them fish. So
yeah, he just manned that net like a pro.
Yeah.
And Ben just kept getting them in the boat. Yeah, it was a fun event, and starting off 5-0 is a good start for me.
Yeah.
Feel good about that. And the other star, you got to talk about Hank, man. Hank was an absolute shining light out
Hank
there.
is going to be the fan favorite.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
There's some pure gold there that it's awesome that the Steffens family is going to have that forever, and be able to play some of them clips back throughout this year, potentially at their wedding. So
exactly.
or his wedding. So it's awesome. It's cool, and there's a lot of father-son teams.
I love that part.
5 or 6?
5.
I mean, that's half the field right there, gentlemen.
And some real young bucks fishing with their dads, and then you look at Mitch and Dave, like they're both grown men doing this deal, and they're working really well together in the boat. So
yeah, great field, great roster, and it was a really nice event. Let's head to matchup number 1. It's my team, the Lees, doing their thing. Andy, let's fire off some interviews here. We got the Lees versus Frederick and Twardowski.
Ready when you are.
All right. So, you want to go first, or should I?
Well, my boat's broken, so we borrowed my brown bow's boat. So shout out to Jimmy for letting us use Uncle Jimmy's boat.
Clutch.
Unfortunately, when we started the boater up, it was knocking like crazy, so we did not have a big motor.
All day.
Trolling motor all day. All we could do was put our heads down.
Just fish.
And keep our lines wet and just keep fishing, cover water. I don't know.
Shout out to Angler's Ammo.
Yeah,
right away in the morning, we caught some nice quality fish on that.
Yeah, some smallmouth and largemouth.
Smallmouth and a largemouth, and I think you caught maybe 1 or 2 more largemouths. Yeah. And then after that, we caught some on the jig, and that was fun too.
Yeah, the jig bite was definitely it was a tough bite.
It was a tough bite.
They were not really choking it; they were just kind of nipping at it, and had to fish really, really slow, which is completely different from the other day. But
yeah,
gotta adjust, gotta be adverse. And it did not start out good. I didn't know how we were gonna do, but all we could do is put our heads down and just keep our lines wet.
Just trolling motor, just straight trolling motor all day. That's all we did. And then I would definitely say it brought back to our roots of kayak fishing. So you can't really zoom anywhere. You just gotta pick everything through as thoroughly as you can, and that's what we did. We capitalized on most of our bites. I think we only lost a few,
we only lost a few bites,
surprisingly.
Yeah.
But so thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you guys for watching. See you
more
guys
weeks.
in a couple weeks.
Let's go.
Thanks, guys.
For today, we had a plan of flipping a lot of wood, which you saw. Water temps came down a little bit from a couple days ago, and I don't know if that affected them or not, but the bites we did get weren't great bites. We ended up missing quite a few, but I thought the fish were still in the areas we wanted to strategize to fish today, but for whatever reason, today wasn't a day of a whole lot of catching, so unfortunately.
No, they weren't biting real good. Early on, I missed a couple. I think they were just grabbing it and pulling it. So
Yeah.
I haven't really been out much, so I haven't gotten a feel for things. But yeah, I think the fish were there. Saw a lot of fish, but we just couldn't figure out what they wanted to bite. So
Yeah, so overall, I had a good strategy coming into it, but
fish didn't cooperate
yeah,
like normal.
sometimes they do, but not this day. So I'll try again month or so.
Yep.
You just took my single.
Yep.
You see the different sides of the spectrum here. Like one team really excited, happy with what they did, overcame all the adversity, started with boat problems, which is tough. We've seen that just wreck people. And then we see the other side where like they just look beat down and defeated.
Right.
And, like you can go into this thing with like the perfect strategy and everything can be going right and it just flips on you.
Come on, Eagle Claw.
How do you overcome that as a fisherman, guys? Like you said, they were coming in hot, right? One of the hotter teams. They just hammered it over the weekend.
Right.
That's the coolest part about getting the interviews right away.
I agree.
It's you don't even get time to think about it. Just like either hooray or just get it out, get the camera out of my face. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Chris kind of had that mentality of okay, I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
You just got to keep grinding. I mean, that's tournament fishing, man. You're going to lose way more than you're going to win. So this format is unique in the fact that you only got to beat one other team. Usually you're fishing against everybody else.
Yeah.
Flip them.
Oh, that was such a big one. Golly.
You're crazy.
Yeah,
That's
they
the
hit
most
a
perfect
couple
built
big
smallie,
ones.
too.
Yeah.
Beauty.
Just the most perfect build on a
I
small.
think Andy's going to buy them guys a net.
Yeah. I love it. I know Andy was mad about it, but I love seeing that stuff.
And I very rarely net fish.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we see some that do and some that don't. What's the pro and the con here?
I don't know. It's some guys like to just for that peace of mind. I'm a carp flopper unless it's a giant.
Right.
You know, if my spinning tackle's typically heavier than it needs to be, so I'm confident I can swing them. And I don't know.
There was one of the fish that the Lees caught that thing like fell off.
Yeah.
As it was like on its way into the boat.
Right.
They could have lost. I think that was the 4.7 one.
Yeah.
It was a giant.
That's the big one. Yeah.
Risky.
Yeah, and a lot of times you see people when they're trying to net fish. This is different because most people have a teammate, so then the netting process is really easy. You just bring them to the net. But when you're fishing by yourself, like you talk about Wisco or like the Elite Series or that kind of stuff, if guys have a net, if they have the option to use it, you see them lose a lot of fish when they're monkeying around trying to get it. So if you have your process and you know where your net is and it's ready to go, you're typically better off netting them. But if you have to get down to the bottom of your boat while this fish is hooked up, try and keep tension on them, and then figure out where your net is, get it extended, and get it in the water, a lot of times you're just better off trying to get down there and grab them with your hand.
Now, if you're using light line and lighter tackle, then you're better off to net them. But swing them.
I'm a big guy. It's a pain in the butt to get all the way down there to the bottom and frickin' scoop them or just flop them on the floor. Yeah. So, that was the Lees. They're machines, man. You knew that this was going to be a good matchup coming in if the fish would go for Chris and Ron, especially after hearing about the weekend that they had out on Little Lake. But that's the thing about largemouth on the entire Bago system is they are fickle. And if they don't want to bite, they ain't going to bite. But their game plan coming in was what I thought was going to produce the better numbers and quality of good ones, just because the smallmouth, at least in most of the tournaments out there, just have not showed up this year. It's weird. They're usually pretty dominant, but this year with all the rain early and kind of the dirty water influx and stuff, they've kind of been super spread out. So the largemouth have been pretty consistent. the Lees mixed in more largemouth than I thought they would. They fished some largemouth stuff and just stayed steady. It didn't. They're one of those teams where you can't rattle them. Like they could show up in the parking lot with no tires on their trailer, and they'd back it down on the rims, and away they go. We'll figure it out when we get back to the ramp.
And we saw the Lees. It wasn't like a 40-pound quarter. It was consistency throughout the entire match. I mean, putting weight in the boat throughout. And that's tough to beat.
Right.
It's really tough to compete with. And like you said, they don't get rattled.
No.
Like, oh, motor blew up. Well, whatever. We'll troll.
Right.
Cool.
We got a troll motor.
Yeah. Well, I'll get my canoe out and we'll do that. Like, they don't care.
Right.
They just fish.
Yep.
And going to be really tough to beat. And they are all in this year. Going to expose spots, going to do whatever they want to win.
Yeah.
So
we'll find out in the next one. The next one's Winnebago. So
yeah, that's their home base.
I'll be willing to bet we're going to see them in the river.
Yeah. Doing something kind of community, but
you think it's going to be buttoned up?
Oh,
they only have to go to Bago twice, and they're only allowed to go to main Bago once. So I got a feeling that if they can squeak through, I don't even know who they're fishing in the next one, but if they have to lean on a place that maybe they exposed last year in the playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised to see that. But I don't think that you're going to see them way off in the middle of nowhere doing something you've never seen anybody do before.
And the week after that next event
is a tournament or something.
Is one of the biggest money tournaments on Bago for the year. So
I'll tell you this.
I hope he burns it down.
Yeah.
I interviewed both of them. Meng Lee's interview is out. If you haven't seen it, it's fantastic. They both, separate interviews, separate situations, whatever, they both said, we will be doing everything we can to get that number 1 seed. They're going to expose, they said they're going to expose it all. They're putting it all on the table. And it sounds like it's She's like farewell song. Moving, not going to do head to head anymore, I don't think. But they're going for this title. Yeah. They want to win this whole thing, and good for them. I want to see. I don't want to see them sit.
Yeah,
we don't want to see them sit for 4 hours again. We want to see them go out and do their thing. So, I'm in, man. I've been on the Lees train for a very long time, and I think they're just gonna do it this year. So, gonna be a lot of fun. We'll see. Like you said,
we shall. Definitely will.
The cool thing as a fisherman watching the Lees yesterday, a lot of teams tried to mix in different spots, but you saw it with a lot of guys. Tesches, Mulliken, Gagnow, Frederick Intradowski, where they had one main place where the majority of their bites came from, and they tried a bunch of different stuff, but it just never worked.
Sure.
The Lees didn't make a bad stop yesterday, and that's how you see that consistency.
Yeah.
They started here and they caught him, and then they eased over here and they caught him here, and then they eased over here and they caught him here. No one else had that rotation going, and if this would have continued for 8 hours, I think you would have seen the Lees put up the biggest total weight out of anybody because they had so much different stuff going.
Right.
Yeah, makes sense. Anything else with Chris and Ron?
They're a slow burn team. They were a slow burn team last year. It's going to take them a minute to get their feet under them, and I got a feeling they're going to slide in the playoffs at that 4 or 5 seed, and then we're going to see the beast of Chris and Ron unleashed.
When they get hot.
Just like we saw last year. I think this next one will fall right in their wheelhouse. Last year, Chris Ron Point was kind of a non-factor due to the 112s and not 2-pounders. This year, we saw a lot of 112s make a difference yesterday, and that was fun to watch. I wasn't bothered at all by the fact that they weren't 2-pounders.
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah. I want to see Wade.
You made a good point yesterday that in a typical Bago tournament, that 112, 114s are your tournament bag fillers.
Right.
Where, you get a 4.5 or a 3.5 and some 2-pounders, and most of the big bags have a big 1-pounder in it somewhere.
Right.
Or a small 2.
Yeah.
It's just what Winnebago is. There's so many of them.
Right.
The chain. So it's interesting that you pointed that out, because I heard it and I was thinking, well, you know what? He's
not
thinking
wrong.
Back at all the tournaments, right? It's like, well, I did weigh in a 2-1 at this one or whatever, right?
Had 17, but I had a 4.5 that carried me, so I could weigh in a 112.
Right. Yeah, and we saw that. What was Chris and Ron's big fish? They had a big fish, right?
Yeah, they had
Biggest
a 412 right off the rip.
Yep.
Their first swing of the bat, the head-to-head season. It was very reminiscent of the one they did on the same place, the same time last year. So that was cool to watch.
Yeah, and we saw the Lees. I think they had 2 big 4-pounders that really kind of set them apart here.
Yeah.
So, great matchup to start the day. Lees take home the victory. And let's head to matchup number 2. We got Tyson Hansen and
Kyle Poila.
Kyle Poila.
P-O-Y-L-A.
Yeah.
Poila.
P-O-H-J-Ola.
Gonna stutter over that one all
Kind
season
of like
long.
Poi again, but Poila.
Yeah, Poila. And they took on the Steffens. Hank shined. Hank was hammering those pike like it was nobody's business. Let's get to those interviews.
All right, go ahead. All right, that was fun. Had a pretty decent day out here. Wasn't the absolute banger show that we thought it was going to be. It was a little tougher in the morning. Cool temperatures kind of slowed everything down, but not too unexpected when you have weather in the 30s and it's been 50s and 60s the last several days. So fish were a little tight-lipped.
Just a lame excuse.
We didn't get bit. I don't know what you're talking about. There has to be a reason we didn't. The fish were there.
Yeah, lame excuse.
Anyways, just interrupts me. Anyways, I caught all of my fish on 7-foot medium heavy mags custom rods, 16-pound fluorocarbon with a redline EWG and the Bronco bug. That's been the deal out here. A couple people know about it. Now you all saw it. So go buy some. TRS is going to have to load up on them, but
they're gone,
you're interested
by the way.
in some rods.
Most of them have disappeared.
Makes probably one of the best ones on the market that you can customize for sub $300. They're phenomenal.
Yeah, I got my juices loose with the Chatter Goose today. So I got on an ALX rod, toad face. I think it's one of the best that they make. I just got the juices loose. It's a good win. You know, first one, no practice. Get yelled at right away in the morning for no practice. But just let Tyson do his thing out here, and I'll just catch fish behind him with something different. I think it worked out pretty good for today.
Absolutely. Hopefully we don't get picked on too bad by TC and the other guys in the studio for how we fished today.
How could you make fun of us? We're having fun. It's all about having fun. We brought the people what they wanted.
This is true, and we brought ourselves the first win of the season, so can't complain about that.
Nope.
Hopefully Hank and Matt caught some fish and had a good time out here. I don't think they were able to come out and practice, so sticking some fish in the boat's good for them too. So
hopefully Hank caught them all.
Absolutely. I'm excited to watch it back on fixed TV, so see how everybody else did and see where the weights fell for everybody else. But thanks for watching, everybody, and we had a great time. Looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, see you on the next one.
Is he wearing suspenders?
Well, our first H2H came to a close here. We were not victorious. I really thought we were kind of putting something together there in probably the first half of the day. We started getting some bites. The second half of the day, it went away on us, which I guess is to be expected. You know, we came out here with zero expectations, having never fished the lake, really don't know anything about it, and from that standpoint, I guess I'm intrigued by the lake. The size of the fish were nice. I think I'll probably come back and just play around a little bit here. Hank had a handful of pike that he put in the boat that gave us some nice quick scares, I guess, where we thought we had some nice bass, turned into big pike. We lost a couple, broke a couple off. Ultimately, I mean, I don't think we had the bites to catch the other team, but we had a good, fun day on the water, don't you think? You got anything to add, little man? Nothing. You want to do another H2H? He's being shy and quiet right now. But overall, can't complain. It was a good day. Congrats to the winners.
Typical attention span of a child, right?
Oh man, you could tell at the end of the game, at the end of the match, Hank was like,
"All right, let's go see how much time we have left." I think Kyle and Tyson are going to be a fun dynamic together this year.
Kyle's a hoot, man.
Kyle just wants to have fun.
Yeah,
he's got a great attitude going into it. Tyson's all serious, and Kyle's going to pick on him all year over it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you saw that Kyle started talking and Tyson had to jump in over the top. Well, you just cut me off. Whatever, just cut me off.
Yeah, these two boats are going to both be fun to watch all year. That's father-son dynamic with Matt and Hank is going to be great. You got to see it a little bit, some of those teaching moments while you were going through, and those, I mean, we all had them growing up. Yeah.
Matt's got some patience.
Yes. Yeah.
He was kind of concerned in the morning. He's like, okay, let's just make sure we look over our shoulder when we cast. Like, he's worried about getting hit or hitting the camera guy. You don't want to buy a case of beer. That's the rule. If you hit a camera guy, it's a case of beer. So
okay.
I don't think we had any beer bought yesterday, so that's good.
No, and it did kind of seem like Matt and Hank were putting a little something together there. I kind of knowing the lay of the lake, I think that they pretty much dropped their trolling motor in one spot and didn't pick it up the rest of the day. And Matt talks about it a lot on his YouTube channel. That's kind of how he likes to break down lakes, just get in an area and kind of see if he can find a clue as to what's going on. And I don't know, the no practice deal in this one certainly seemed like it didn't help him. We'll see if that dynamic continues the rest of the season, if Matt finds some time and gets out on some of these places or just continues going with it. I know that he wants to be in that championship on the Wapaka chain for sure. So I think it was a great get your feet wet kind of event. It went good. Everyone had fun in the boat, it seemed like. So all good on the Steffen side. And Ty Hansen, I got nothing bad to say. I wish I was in the boat with you yesterday because that's my deal right there. Y'all got up in the dirt, did it with a big rod, flipping heavy cover. It looked awesome. Kyle was great to watch. Ty did a great job explaining what he was doing in the boat. They both, if you want a shallow water power fishing seminar, you can go back and watch the Ty Hansen Kyle Poyla show, and that's it.
This next one on Bago will be interesting to see if Kyle lets Tyson take the reins, because Bago's Kyle's water. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, Kyle and Tyson put up 32 pounds, and the Steffens put up 11.5. So, yeah, I mean, Tyson he's might be the most confident person in this entire field. Country, world, universe. And I'm on board for it, man.
Roman.
Believe in yourself and go out there and hammer, and they did. So, and then Kyle brings that, I mean,
he brings the flavor to it. Oh, yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
Gets those juices flowing, guys,
the first year of head-to-head, there's Tina.
Yeah,
I got Tina.
My favorite from yesterday was, that's a polar bear. It's a sea bear. Like, where did
and that's great.
The guy's got no filter. If it's thought up here, it just...
We might have to do a segment called Random Thoughts of Kyle Poyla.
Yeah. Sounds all right.
And I'm sure the best stuff never even made it on camera.
Poyla. Yeah.
Like when they're not catching them and they're just like,
that's probably worth scrubbing through.
Oh, yeah.
Just for some...
that'd be some great
just
content.
For some good B-roll.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the Steffens, I interviewed Matt. I think he got what he expected, right? Like, he's not putting in a lot of time to pre-fish.
Right.
They don't have the time to do that. He's looking at it as father-son experience, which all on camera, awesome. It looks like they had a lot of fun on the boat together, and he's, helping his kid become a better fisherman. Right. How cool is that? And yeah, man, like, I remember being a little kid and they had to walk around with those heavy cameras, those are our family videos.
Yeah.
These guys have it right now. This is the best father-son experience ever. And the fact that they both look like they had a great time, even in a loss, looked like he had a really good time. I love it. I think Hank is going to be a star by the end of this entire deal. He's got to walk into school with his chest puffed up. And,
heck yeah.
Yeah, y'all see me out there? Yeah.
He's got 3 girlfriends this week.
Oh, easy. They're going to be waiting.
100%.
For sure. They caught pikes.
Right.
We saw Hank. Those were some big ones. I'm like, holy cow, he's bringing in a big one. Yeah, it just didn't pan out, whatever.
We will see that team fire off at some point this year. I
agree.
Matt's a true professional. The guy's been to the top of the sport. He's won big trophies on big stages. Like, head-to-head is not the biggest, not to discredit anything about head-to-head, but it's not the biggest thing Matt Steffen's ever fished. So he's in it to have some fun with a good group of local guys and ultimately make memories with his kid, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, and it sounds like every event they're going to do the traveling, they're going to do the hotels. Like, it's awesome. Every week's a vacation for these two. It's going to be great, and I'm on board for it. I'm in on the father-son bonding stuff. It's really cool.
But he bet against them.
Yep.
Yeah, I did. All right, next one. Right. We have Keen and Ward taking on the Van Aert duo. Van Aert's 24 pounds. Ward duo 11-12. Let's get that interview.
All right, well, we got the W, I think, so good way to start. It was a little slower than I thought, but we got it. 24 pounds, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot slower than I thought, but we got consistently caught a few, and we realized, I think that was going to be enough. It wasn't going to be a beatdown.
Yeah, and honestly, the week we practiced, I don't know, 4 times or something, and it was just, we couldn't really put any spots together. It was more so just, you know, one here, one there. So it kind of came together as good as we could have asked for. So
I think so, yeah. Mm-hmm. We didn't know what to expect. What did we end up with?
24 pounds.
24 pounds, yeah, that's pretty good. So
yeah. Great way to start the season. I'm definitely excited to fish with my dad this year, and it's going to be a lot of fun at that. And I think we'll be able to compete for sure. So good way to start.
Yeah, we had a good day. Say hello to my wife if she's watching.
Oh man,
I can hear what he says. We lost. Mustache is back.
Dude, I love the mustache.
My shoes are awesome.
The Bastache is back. You didn't have to jump in the water this week.
Yeah. I don't know what happened to the audio, but I wanted to hear what they said. They looked defeated.
Yeah.
You know, they looked like it was a rough day.
Well, they had the up and down so much last year as well, too. You know, the bad beats and catching everybody. And they were pretty confident going into this one. They're in the right areas.
Yeah.
You know, they were fishing right around the same areas as the Pony and
they were around the Lees. They were around Malik and Gagnow. They were around the Van Aerts towards the end of the day when the Van Aert spike kind of tapered off. They were that close and missed it. And that's how fishing goes, man. You can be knocking on the door of the deal and walk right past it, not even know it.
Do we know, did they miss? Did the fish get off the hook? Did they miss fish that way, or was the bite just not there for them?
I didn't see many misses out of them. Their quality was not there like it was for some of the other teams, and it was interesting that 3 of them set up on the spot, the one main area where we saw them start in the morning. They were probably the furthest out on the spot, more into the main lake than everybody else, and their numbers were not as good as the Lees, and their quality was not as good as the Lees, but I don't think that they might have had the prime real estate that they thought was prime, but it wasn't for the day that it was. So
yeah, just a little shift over, and the fish were there.
Exactly. You could miss it by 50 yards and never know. Not till 3 boats show up on it, and you're watching 2 dudes feel on them, and you're like hoping for a bite on a cricket. Like it's a bad feeling. Been there, not fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they took on the buzzsaw. All I've heard all off season is how good Mitch Van Aert is.
Yeah.
And they came out and they handled business. I love the father-son thing.
Yeah.
They're going to have a really fun season together. Yeah.
It was cool to see how much more comfortable Mitch was in the boat with his dad. Like they worked just like a well-oiled machine.
They talked through a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you'll see some fun little jabs back and forth at, like you heard Tyson and Kyle say it in the match, like, oh, we should slow down just like Mitch Van Aert. And then I heard Mitch say some like offhanded, like just fun little jabs at each other. It's an awesome dynamic to have this number 1 seed team broken up, and now we're going to see them go head to head against each other. So, and 2 very different fishing styles separated by 6 pounds. So that's going to be a fun deal to watch all year. I really, really hope that we see them face off in the playoffs somewhere. God, that'd be so sweet.
Yes, it would.
I think they were both kind of gunning for that.
Yeah.
Green Lake is where they meet each other. So that'll be good.
There we go. All right, next matchup. This was it, man. This was a ton of weight. We had Brian and Ben Tesh with 56.7. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Poor Tony, poor Jeff.
Yeah.
Again.
The whipping post.
Yeah.
Second highest weight of the 10 teams.
Tony caught the first fish of the year.
Yep. On his first season on his first cast.
And they just ran into the top weight.
Right.
And that's how head-to-head goes, guys. Tony and Jeff, they seem to find everyone's best, and that's really unfortunate. Let's head to the interviews.
Well, we did it. Pretty good day today. We got off to a hot start. We're say 95% of our fish came on the cast again, 2.25 and 2.25 finesse. Yeah, feels good to get off to a hot start and take it to the next one.
Yeah, I was struggling a bit today. I've been sick all week and starting to feel a little bit better. So my energy wasn't quite there, but man, he had me running back and forth from the front of the boat to the back, weighing those fish. It was a fun day. It's a pretty popular spot that was made very popular last year, and there's little tricks related to this area, and I think what happened is our fish were really hot in the morning. The water temperature was warmer. When it started to cool, or when we started to cool down on the catches, the water temperature dropped about a degree and a half, maybe 2 degrees, and it just started to kick back up. So I think we made the right choice of coming back. But yeah, it's a good day.
On to the next one.
Suppose we gotta do our post-match interviews, huh?
We sure do. Lines out. Well, we kind of knew once we got the boat drawn, we saw where the Teshes were going to go, that it was going to be tough.
Yep.
But we held our own for as long as we could with the stuff we had. I honestly don't feel bad about our decisions.
I mean, we had what? 40 pounds and 8 ounces, and you go home with an L. I mean,
yeah,
it really comes down to the random luck of the boat draw, and if our team we faced didn't draw boat 1, someone else would have went there, and that would have been someone else's problem. But of course, we drew boat 9, they drew boat 1, and
right.
We knew we were in for a day. And I mean, we gave them all we could. They have a couple lulls, and we were trying to be.
They gave us a shot a couple times, but congratulations, Teshes, on your first victory in head-to-head. So we will go back, lick our wounds, regroup.
So yeah, we did everything pretty much on a Ned today and a tube. So check out Casting and Tackle. Omega Custom Tackle had the Ned that I was using. Links all those. You can actually go to TonyMalikaFishing.com this year, and it'll take you right to all of those pages that for the companies we work with. So, well, yeah, we'll see you guys in 3 weeks out on Bago when we face Hansen and Puela.
Another tall task.
That should be a fun one. So
that'll be a fun one. All right.
Fan favorites, nice
great
guys.
Attitudes.
Good Lord.
Not a loss.
Unfortunately, they're used to this.
They got a pretty big callus from that. So
my goodness.
Yeah. And
there's always one team that just gets the rough draw.
Yeah, they brought up the boat draw thing, and
explain that to me. I didn't know what they were talking about.
So the reason we did that is Little Lake Beetamore. It's small. I knew the area that Teshes ended up being in was going to be a popular spot, and I didn't want any arguments. I didn't need 5 guys running over there and all pissing and moaning at each other, and then I got to hear about it, right? So we're doing a boat draw. So we're going to do it for everyone that we launch from the same place. So like next week, Lake Winnebago, we're going to be driving there. We're going to meet at a parking right. So then we won't do a boat draw there.
So what do you mean a boat draw? You just put numbers in a hat and pull them out?
I got 10 paint sticks. They all got a number on it, and they picked one out of the cup. Tony and Jeff actually picked first. They picked first one, and they drew 9. So we're going to do that every morning, the morning of each event, and that's what it's going to be.
Sounds like that's a big part of the strategy.
Well, it adds some strategy to a place like Little Lake Beetamore, where that's a very popular spot. Obviously, Tony wanted to get that spot.
Yeah,
is what it is. But we just didn't. I didn't want any drama with it. So
well, then they did a great job shifting gears.
Yep.
They still did everything right.
Second to last boat to leave.
Right. Second highest weight of the day.
Yeah, I mean they hammered it again. It's unfortunate. This is how it's structured. That's. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. But they had a great day.
Yeah.
Second best.
Absolutely. Caught some big ones, had decent numbers. It was just towards the tail end there. They just kind of trailed off. And there was a moment when the Teshes were kind of leaving the door open. They talked about that water temperature shift. And Tony and Jeff went up to some shallow trees and broke 2 off like back to back. And that was kind of where you felt like the tides turned for that team. And I wasn't in the boat. I don't know how they did mentally recovering from that, but I can tell you I was watching their camera as they were shifting through their movements at the end of the day, and it was like pull up, 2 casts, leave. Pull up, 2 casts, leave. And that's a great strategy, but they were definitely throwing the Hail Mary at that point. There was no sit down, grind out 3 more bites, which in the end wasn't what they needed. They probably needed 5 or 6 more fish, but at times they were within 10 pounds of the Teshes, which is 3 3¼ pound bites out there. Like, I mean,
both came out of the gates really hot. 36 pounds for the Teshes, 22 for Gagnow Malika. Ben is a stud.
Yeah.
Wow. I walked away from this event like, okay, the kid is the real deal.
Right.
I understand why he's following your footsteps and doing the whole scholarship fishing thing.
Absolutely.
He's a stud. Gonna put on a performance all season long. Looking forward to that. But we saw a huge first quarter, died down big time in quarter 2, a 0 in quarter 3. And in quarter 4, though, he caught a couple 2-pounders, just gave them that extra edge that they needed, and they did enough to win, man. And it was, who would thought that 56 pounds, you're like, oh, okay, that's a huge bag to me. And, and it's a tough matchup, guys.
Right, and that's listening to them talk about their thought process on that spot. Like, that's some veteran moves to be able to pay attention to that water temperature throughout the day. And the dynamics of that spot, I'm not going to explain it on here because I don't need my tires slashed. I don't want anyone calling me, but it is a spot. Exactly. It is a spot where you do have to pay attention to the small details, because those fish come in and they leave, and they come in and they leave. And maybe they don't leave. They're still around, but they kind of spread out and chill out. And I mean, if you're sitting at the Golden Corral, you're not just constantly taking plates. Like, at least me, when I go get like my 3rd plate, I'm going to take a little breather here for a minute. I might take an hour off, and then I'll go back for my 4th and 5th, You
got 2 arms for a reason.
Right. But I'm going to start hot, just like you saw the Teshes do.
Yep.
When I walk in the door, I'm eating, boy.
Take a time out and go to the bathroom for an hour.
Exactly.
Back for more. Yeah, so that was a great matchup. 2 highest weights of the day. Just unfortunate. This is how it goes, but it's great TV.
Yeah.
Guys. This is what we want.
Yeah.
And
we appreciate both of them teams for carrying the production.
That's head-to-head for you right there.
100%.
The name says it all, right?
Yep. Why is it called head-to-head again?
Yeah, I think you faced the team you're against. I don't know.
Why do they only face one team?
It's a beautiful thing.
Yep.
Let's head to the 5th and final matchup. We have the duo of Grant and Dale Neubauer, father-son duo. 10-15. They took on Riley Richard and John Hanman. 10-13. Came down to the very, very buzzer.
They had more than that. The Neubauers did. They had 13.
Yeah, they had one last fish right at the very end.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay, well, update the website, guys.
Yeah, Waylive is accurate. I double-checked it, but we'll get everything else.
So they ended up with 13?
13-something.
Oh, not that close then.
It was right till the very end.
It was hot all the way.
It was right till the very end.
They must have hammered that last one late in the matchup.
It ended up 12-8 to 10-13.
Okay. They must have caught one
right at the end.
Darn near at the buzzer.
Right at the buzzer.
Okay.
I'm going to guess it was probably when we were in Richard and Hammond's boat waiting for them to catch one. They caught their last one. But
yeah, because we followed the Handman Richard boat right until the end because, we're waiting for that buzzer.
They're one bite away,
Yep.
And we saw Riley do it last year, like we talked about on the broadcast. We saw him and Brian put an uppercut on Bliss and Meadow right in the very tail end in Event 5 of last.
Yep.
The kid's got the potential.
We love those Hail Marys at the end.
Absolutely.
Those last-second shots. Yeah, that's sports right there. All right, let's hit these interviews.
Yeah. Well, we came out here for 2 days.
2 days of practice.
2 days of practice and found just a couple things that we were hoping we found fish on. They were hoping we'd get to ourselves and didn't, so we just came to some other spots as a different resort. And yeah, some crazy weather and fish just ended up changing, so we just went to what we knew how to do and could do best and tried to make the best of it, but came up short, fortunately. So what do you got?
Well, we stuck to what we had, tubes and jigs and what worked in practice, but didn't seem to work as well as we thought it would during game time, but can't go back now.
Yep.
I think we made the right decisions.
Yeah, I think so. Just didn't have the bites we needed, but
Yep,
that wraps it up pretty much. Got one. Good one.
Great attitude there.
Yeah.
young. They're young kids.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
I think it's important to note that this is the first time Riley's ever called the shot in a head-to-head event.
Yeah.
He was...
Unfortunately, we didn't have the interview from the Neubauers. The camera battery died right at the end there, so they were excited when they got back. They felt the pressure. They felt that, his dad come walking up when he was going to get the truck, and he's like, man, that's different.
Yeah.
Caught one right at the end there, so.
That's going to be right up their alley because they are adrenaline junkies.
Absolutely.
Those two.
Yep.
So that's going to be a lot of fun. And, yeah, we hear that a lot, especially first-timers fishing head-to-head.
Yep.
They get done, and they're like, whoo, what a rush that was. Yeah.
Especially in the close matches, man.
100%.
You feel hopeless when you're down, and you even feel more hopeless when you're up because you don't know what the other team is doing.
Right.
You know enough to scare you.
Yeah.
It's different.
What were the fishing takeaways from both of these teams? Obviously, low weights for both of them.
Yep.
But it was beautiful because they faced off against each other, made it really exciting because close matchup.
Right.
Throughout.
Right. It's like a pitcher's duel, right?
Yep.
They neither one of them have a whole lot of experience on there. Last year, they had Brian Ice was in the boat to kind of carry that
like
experience
mentor.
a little bit. Mentor and be the veteran of the group here, and now Riley's going to carry that, and I don't think they did anything wrong. They said they practiced a couple days and they went with what they found in practice. Right. That's all you can do.
Sure.
As tournament fishermen, you can only do what you know, and it's tough when you don't have the experience on a body of water to fish some histories at time. Maybe I'll run here, run there. Just keep grinding it out. So that's what they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they started out hot, 4-8, 3-14, scoreless third quarter, which we saw a lot yesterday, and then they catch one fish in the fourth that was 2-7, or was that a couple little ones?
That was two.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, and then we saw the Neubauers. They're grinding. 2-14, 2, and then in that fourth quarter, getting that fish at the end.
Right.
Yeah. You have these matchups. Right. You got to win them. So
it's all about winning. It doesn't
100%.
matter. 100%. Right now, this time of year, it doesn't matter how much you win by. Win-loss record, you win them all by 2 pounds or 2 ounces or 30 pounds, you're going to be in a playoff.
You want to stay in that W column.
The tiebreaker weight only matters if you need to go to it. So,
right. And that's where you feel bad for Riley and John. This was an event where not only they took a loss in an event that they certainly had in their grasp, but it was also the lowest scoring event, and they did not do themselves any favors on the total weight tracker. So tough draw for those guys. Overall, both boats impressed me. I was impressed with Riley's decision-making skills and their ability on a fairly slow day to stay in it mentally. Never seemed like they got spun out. They stuck with their guns. They knew that they were just a couple bites away and that they knew that they were around them. Ultimately never got those bites, and I'd never watched either of the Neubauers fished. I followed along a little bit on social media and stuff, and Dale and Grant definitely looked the look. Like they got the boat, they got the gear, they got the package, and after watching them on camera, they're fish good. They're going to be a factor all year. It's going to be interesting because they're both not from the Fox Valley area. A lot of our teams are from around here. They're from more the western part of the state, do a lot of fishing Mississippi River, some of those marshy type lakes over there. Sets up a lot like what we have over here, but a lot of this stuff that's going to be very new to them, a lot of these bodies of water. So it'll be interesting to watch them kind of go through and learn and how much practice time they put in, what they figure out, because if they can put it together, I think that they're going to be a playoff caliber team.
Definitely.
Good start, getting a dub right away. Next event, next Wednesday, we're in the Walleye, guys.
Walleye side next Wednesday on Lake Winnebago.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Guys, event number 1 in the books.
Great kickoff.
Yeah,
couldn't ask for much more.
I agree. A lot of good television, some good weights, a lot of close matchups. Yeah, it was everything we could have asked for and then some. We have a great roster, and if you want to check it out, it's right here on Fix all season long. Next week, like Kyle said, we have the Walleye guys. It's every Wednesday, guys. Come check us out right here on Fix. Till next time, be great.